And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. And I just wanted to do a quick lesson, just following up on a video that I did yesterday regarding the Hudat and the WEF, basically calling for martial law. All right, having these world governments prepare for martial law. All right, and it was basically an article that I was reading and putting two and two together. All right, but I want to clarify a little bit more. All right, on what kind of martial law we could be looking at in the next coming weeks, next coming months. All right, if it be the Lord's will, whatever time that may be. Okay. And we're looking at something known as medical martial law. All right, so I looked it up today actually, and I came across some pretty good information, which was written on April the 4th. All right, so about 5 days ago. All right, if you look at it, today's the 9th, so 5 days ago. All right, and it's all in the spirit of vibration of the end times. All right, now when you go into the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter. Okay, it tells you that there's going to be a time like never before. All right, it is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, and this year being the year of the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. All right, we're definitely anticipating, all hell breaking loose, or like they say, shit hitting the fan. Okay, shit hitting the fan scenarios, which will befall America very soon. All right, so our jobs as prophets and watchmen is to continue to warn the sheep. Okay, now yesterday, me personally, I definitely wanted something to go down. All right, but it's not our will, it's the Heavenly Father's will. All right, so clearly there's a few more things to happen before, okay, that great day, where, it happens suddenly. Okay, again, we'll also remember that Esau always does things, on two fronts. Okay, he has his agents, and then he has his controlled opposition. Okay, so who knows, maybe they were putting out a lot of information, all right, in regards to the so-called eclipse, just to see how people are going to move, but it's also preparation for what they're actually going to be doing very soon, just not specifically on April 8th. All right, but you could pretty much bet that yes, definitely they did some left-handed energy shit. Okay, that's going to affect the course of the world and so on and so forth in the next coming weeks and months. Okay. So, all right, so let's get right into this article real quick. It says, medical martial law, the Hudat Demic Preparedness Treaty, and the future of global control. Okay, and it says here, so out here. It says here, the Hudat Demic Preparedness Treaty, a global pretext to impose medical martial law, the burning platform. So, we're going to tie everything in, going back to the articles that I brought out yesterday in regards to the so-called outbreak of the H5N1 bird flu. Okay, and how they're given warnings of how it could potentially, break out into the human population, which we know, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shah, and from what they did a few years ago with the CV, that they've been planning for something else, that's going to carry them into this so-called New World Order officially, right? You have different countries like Australia and Canada that's already taken those measures, okay, having central bank digital currencies and so on and so forth, but they need that one more push, all right, to gather the people into that direction that they want them to go into, which is going to be ultimately the fulfillment of the mark of the beast prophecy. Okay, so it says, in an era where global health crises are becoming increasingly common, the World Health Organization, or the WHO, Pandemic Preparedness Treaty has been viewed by some as a potential pretext for imposing what is being termed as medical martial law. This article explores the implications of such a scenario, the motivations behind it, and its potential impact on the future of global governance. Or take a seat. Sit. Sit down. Don't mind them. Sit down. Sit. Sit. All right, continuing. It's like you 1 second. Hey, sit down. Continuing, it says, the emergence of medical martial law. It says the concept of medical martial law has gained traction in recent years, particularly in the wake of the CV-19 Demic. Some argue that the Demic was a staged event designed to justify the implementation of stringent control measures under the guise of public health safety. The fear is that such measures could lead to an unparalleled lockdown of the planet, with citizens around the globe living under the constant threat of martial law imposed for medical reasons. So there you have it. All right. So again, don't think that because nothing overtly might have happened on April 8th, you shouldn't let your guard down. Okay, really, you should really be paying closer attention, right, to everything they do and everything they say, because they know that people are watching. Okay, so they're gonna take different avenues, all right, especially when it comes to the prophets, all right, to try to sow a spirit of confusion. Hey, sit down. All right, so continuing, it says, and ultimately America is the city of confusion, right? Babylon. So a lot of things that happens here is not supposed to make sense. If you're in your right mind, America is not supposed to make sense. Things that they do is all supposed to be, ass backwards, because they're ruled over by the son of perdition, which is Esau Edom. All right, the prominent family. All right, starting with the Jays, okay, the Talmudists. All right. So it says, continuing, the Demic Preparedness Treaty, a tool for control. It says, critics argue that the Demic Preparedness Treaty, which they're supposed to be signing off on, making it official come this May, which is next month, right? So it's interesting how this whole so-called bird flu thing is popping up now, right? It's very convenient, but we'll watch and see. Okay, we'll watch and see what's going to happen, all right, going towards the halfway point of the rest of the 2024 year calendar, all right? So let's continue. It says, critics argue that the Demic Preparedness Treaty, which was ostensibly designed to enhance global readiness for demics, is being used as a tool to further the interests of a powerful elite. They suggest that the treaty could be used to justify a range of draconian measures, from mandatory Vanessa programs to restrictions on internet usage, all under the banner of public health. There you go. And over the past, say 3-4 years, all right, they have taken those, measures. They have taken those measures to get the public assimilated with those kind of measures very soon. Okay, with taking videos down and shadow banning videos, and in your subconscious mind, not being able to use certain words. Some people who might want to speak the truth, they might not necessarily be able to say certain words. They have to be coded, like we have to be coded, right? That's all psychological games that they're trying to play to ultimately pave the way that very soon there's going to be certain words you just can't say outright. Because you don't want your video taken down. At this point, that's what it is. Or you don't want to be demonetized, those kind of things. But very soon it's going to be at the penalty of, imprisonment or ultimately death. That's where it's going to lead to, especially when it comes to the topics written in the scriptures when it pertains to prophecy. Okay. Very soon, speaking about the mark of the beast and so on and so forth, is going to be deemed as a hate speech, or we're going to be facing hate crimes for that. You know, anything that's going to come against, their so-called pitched false narratives. All right. When you bring it with the truth, all right, they're going to demonize it, and they're going to make it seem like a health hazard that they got to eliminate. All right. And that's all part of the dehumanization tactics that they're going to be taking very soon. All right. So continuing, it says, the future under medical martial law. It says the potential future under medical martial law is a concerning one for many. Critics fear that it could lead to a full-blown global control matrix with every aspect of life regulated and monitored. There you go. They talked about mass surveillance, right? They're going to have these mass surveillance programs. So, that's really what they're talking about. Again, remember, John talks about the beast. Okay, the beast is put in place through Esau's technology. Okay, it is they're by way of their technology that they're able to create this beast system. Okay, so we having their NATO military and so on and so forth, but ultimately their technology, AI, and so on and so forth, that's going to be able to bring about this beast system that they're trying to create, or they are creating. Okay, so continuing, it says, and that beast system is what brings them that total control. Okay, total control, man, having that draconian way of rule. All right, remember they said the new world order is going to come either by way of consent or by conquest. Okay, so it's no joke. All right, and many different prophecies allude to how the end times are going to be. Revelation 12:12 comes to mind. Okay, so let's continue. It says the concept of medical martial law has gained traction in the recent years. I think we read that. It says actually, let me see something. Yep, it says the Demic Preparedness Treaty, a tool for control. Critics argue that the Demic Treaty, I think we also read that. Oh, let's bring it back. If we didn't read it, we're going to read it now. All right, check this out. It says, critics argue that the Demic Preparedness Treaty, which was ostensibly designed to enhance global readiness for demics, right, is being used as a tool to further the interests of a powerful elite. All right, and you look no further than the the WEF. All right, under the so-called guidance of Professor Klaus Schwab. All right, his minions. They got something known as young global leaders, right? So the world is waking up to all these little buzzwords that they keep using, because it doesn't bode too well, as people have seen over the past 4 years. You got this ridiculous inflation in the name of Build Back Better, right? That's what they were running on, Build Back Better. What have they built back in a sense of better? All right, in a sense of what prosperity, in a sense of making America, so-called great again, just in a different way. Build back better, make America great again. It's the same shit, just said by two different people, two different energy, but it's leading to the same thing. So now the people are putting pieces together and saying, yo, man, what these prophets are saying is dead ass true. We're exposing the lies that's being put out in plain sight that the people mostly wouldn't see. Okay, and that's what makes us dangerous. All right, by bringing out this truth from the Bible. Okay, it says they suggest that the treaty could be used to justify a range of draconian measures, from mandatory Vanessa programs to restrictions on internet usage, all under the banner of public health. Okay, so again, remember what we're talking about is medical martial law. Okay, and I believe there's a bill that was already passed, or is about to be passed, in New York at least, or in New York State, where the governor said that basically under a threat of public health, people could be held against their will. Okay, so that's a form of imprisonment, and they're not going to be holding you in a regular hospital. The hospital is already overflowed. They told you that. So it's going to be where in them FEMA camps. Okay, FEMA camps. All right. So let's continue. It says the future under medical martial law. It says the potential future under medical martial law is as concerning, or is a concerning one for many. Critics fear that it could lead to a full-blown global control matrix with every aspect of life regulated and monitored. Okay, so going back to what I was saying earlier, even out here, I believe in California, let me see, let me see if, oh no, that's a different article. Okay, so in out there in California, they're saying that Gavin Newsom has basically unveiled some form of surveillance program. All right, so it's just the beginning, right? In airports, airports, they already have that. They already rolled that stuff out, the biometrics. Okay, the biometric system where, they make it seem like it's an optional thing, but when you get there, you got people standing there telling you, oh, just stand right there and see, and it scans your face and then you can go, right? So they say it's optional, but then the way they move, it's almost like it's the required thing. And then you see like 70% of the people doing it. People think, oh, that's just the norm. Let me just do it too. Until you stop and you question, like, wait a minute. You said this is optional. Why the hell are you standing here and forcing everyone to do it? You know what I'm saying? That puts a perception that it's something that they have to do. And that's how they get you. Again, Esau's ways is all voluntary. Okay, he has to entice you. He has to coerce you. He has to tempt you, right? But once you give in, he got you. So the trick is to hold back as much as you can, resist and fight. Scriptures tell you, resist the devil and he shall flee. Okay? Remember, resistance, the greatest form of resistance is having your faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and not wavering. Because he's the one who's going to keep us in the hour of temptation, the time where you're going to need to resist the most. Okay? And this is all leading to what? The MOTB, like I said. All right? The next big one, that's going to lead us straight into the MOTB. All right? Because the system is already set up for it. Okay? It says, wait, hold up. It says, from the rollout of a cashless digital currency to the implementation of digital identification via microchipping. Oh, shit. All right. Beautiful. Yeah, let's read that slow. From the rollout of a cashless digital currency to the implementation of digital identification, right? The ID. That Kill Bates and all these people, they pushing heavy for ID, digital ID, digital ID, digital ID, right? When everything collapses, it's gonna be that digital ID. Okay, it first starts off as your health ID, and then soon it becomes your everything that you need ID, right? You need to prove your identification, and by doing so, we need to make sure that you have this unique code, unique ID, which can only be in one person and one person only underneath your skin. The charagma, right? Your ID, your unique identification, your character, your charagma. Okay? Man, this shit is crazy. It says, from the rollout of a cashless digital currency, CBDC, to the implementation of digital identification via microchipping, RFID, MOTB, right? The potential implications are far-reaching and deeply troubling for those who value personal freedom and autonomy. And guess what? Klaus Schwab already said this new digital economy, it does everything. It does away with complete transparency. He said, forget about transparency. If you got nothing to hide, then what's the point? There is no transparency in this new world order, right? We look at everything. We see everything. Okay? We are the gods on this earth. It says, while it is important to prepare for future health crises, it is equally crucial to ensure that such preparations do not infringe upon basic human rights and freedoms. The debate around the Demic Preparedness Treaty and the concept of medical martial law highlights the need for vigilance, transparency, and robust public discourse in the face of global health emergencies. Okay, medical martial law in the shadow of a health crisis, a treaty takes the stage. Okay, and what treaty is that? The One Accord Treaty. Okay, it has 194 nations on it, and guess what? It basically makes whoever the health general will be, in this case is Tedros, he becomes a dictator. Okay, whatever he dictates, the countries will follow suit and do as he says, in the name of a public health crisis of was it international concern? Okay. It says a world prepared for demics or a new golden cage. Medical martial law, a term that chills the bone. A future under watchful eyes, every move is known. Yep. In the name of keeping you safe. Okay. It says a global country. Remember, the Apostle Paul said, when they shall say peace and safety. Okay. It is through that rhetoric of peace and safety that they're going to bring in that sudden destruction that opens up the door for them to be all draconian. Okay, a global control matrix, every nation under thumb, freedom and autonomy. To these threats, we must not succumb. For in the face of crisis, it's our rights we must protect. Medical martial law, a concept we must inspect. This guy over here. All right. All right. So I think that's the end of the article here. Okay. But also remember that, you know, we have many different avenues they can go into with, right? In order to bring that martial law, all they got to do is just start some shit, right? And then you got medical martial law, and then you got the actual, federal or nationwide martial law, straight up. You know, real quick, it says, what is martial law, right? In short, martial law can be imposed when civil rule fails, right? You got martial law, you got a civil war. Right, they got the movie coming out, I believe, this month. Okay, so you got that to look forward to. That's all part of predictive programming. If shit was to go down exactly as is in the movie, they're gonna have martial law. Okay, it says when civil rule fails, temporarily being replaced with military authority in a time of crisis. You hear that? Crisis. That's the key. It could be any crisis. It could be a health crisis. It could be a so-called terrorist attack crisis. Right, it could be a civil war crisis. It could be a food crisis, food shortage crisis. Right, it could be some form of earthquakes, you know, in diverse places, type crisis. Right, anything that they deem as a crisis. Nowadays they throw that word loosely around, so they'll have many different ways to bring that thing to fruition. And the prophets, starting with the elders and apostles of great wisdom, have been saying that this is going to happen. All right, so you're not going to escape it. All right, nobody's going to escape this. This is all part of Jacob's trouble. Okay, it tells you that in the book of 2nd Esdras, all right, about the innumerable multitude that's kindled over you. Okay, and they shall take some of you, feeding you idle with things offered unto idols. All right, so that's gonna happen. Okay, it says, though rare, there have been a number of notable U.S. cases where martial law come into play, including in times of war, natural disaster, and civic dispute. There you go. Of which there has been no shortage in 2020. So natural disaster, you could deem a pestilence or a demic as a natural disaster. You know, a bird flu, a flu, you know, that goes around killing animals and people. You know what I'm saying? That's a disaster. You know, it says, while no precise definition of martial law exists, a precedent for it exists wherein, quote, certain civilian or civil liberties may be suspended. Right? That goes into what? Your so-called constitutional rights, which are privileges, right? And so on and so forth. Bill of Rights, I should say. Right? It says, such as the right to be free from unreasonable, there you go, unreasonable searches and seizures, freedom of association and freedom of movement. and the writ of habeas corpus, the right to a trial before imprisonment, may be suspended. So now you're starting to see, all right, the prophecy where it talks about some of us are going to be cast into prison for 10 days, but be not troubled. All right. The Lord is going to fight for us, man. All right. This is all we're reading, the days that leads to that. Okay. It says, according to documents from JRank, an online legal encyclopedia, it says martial law may be declared by both the president and by Congress. State officials may also declare martial law according to the Brennan Center for Justice. However, their action under the declaration must abide by the U.S. Constitution and are subject to review in federal court. Well, not in a state of emergency, right? In a state of emergency, they have about 6 months to run through whatever the hell they want to do before, Congress and so on and so forth can start looking at it, or you could look at it as the, if I'm not mistaken, the judicial branch and the legislative branch. Okay. Continuing, it says, let's see. Let's jump down to how does it work? It says martial law does not have limits. The Posse Comitatus Act, passed on June 18th, 1878, prevented federal troops from supervising. It says martial law does have limits. I got to read that correctly. All right. The Posse Comitatus Act, passed on June 1878, prevented federal troops from supervising federal Confederate state elections during Reconstruction. Though initially it only applied to the Army, it has been amended to include the Defense Department and, of course, the other service branches. All right, interesting. It says that act prevents troops from enforcing domestic law, preventing such actions as searching and seizing property or dispersing crowds. However, National Guard units, which are already dispersed in certain states, right, and those states are also under state of emergency, right? Now, does that mean that since the eclipse is over, are they going to go back to normal? No. All right, it says, however, National Guard units, which take their direction from state governors, are exempt from the Posse Comitatus Act. Ooh. Right? So we know what the Posse Comitatus Act is, right? Which is, it prevents the federal troops from supervising Confederate state elections during Reconstruction. Well, at that time in 1878, right? But what it really does, so-called, is to, basically, they can't use troops on American people on American soil. Okay, but here they're saying that the National Guard is exempt from the Posse Comitatus Act. Right? So that's very interesting. It says one exception to Posse Comitatus, however, is the Insurrection Act. Check this out, which allows the use of active duty or National Guard troops, right, for federal law enforcement in cases when, quote, rebellion against the authority of the U.S. makes it impracticable to enforce the laws of the U.S. by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings. Wow, according to U.S. North Command. Check that out. So they just laid it out right there. They're setting up the stage to be able to go around certain things in the Constitution. For example, this Insurrections Act. Okay, that's just an example. The Insurrection Act is just an example of how they can go around to declare outright martial law. Okay, in the case of rebellion. In the time of Civil War, what do you think happens? You have groups, pockets of people who think they can take over the government, set up a coup, if you will. Okay? And these people have sworn an oath, which is all fraudulent, right? That they're going to defend the Constitution and the land, all right, from enemies, domestic or foreign and domestic. Okay? Which is all, like I said, it's all fraud and hypocrisy, because all of them inside that work in the governments are all part of those enemies that are domestic and foreign. Not the regular people, but it's them. I think I'm going to stop over here. All right, there's a lot more in this article that I could bring out. You know, I'll definitely try to see if I could touch on another day, just so I don't make this video too long. But you know, you get the point. Okay, that you know, through this so-called Demic, you know, and the combination of some form of civil war, you could have martial law break out in any of those two ways, whether it be medical or just outright martial. Okay, and that's all going to signify, all right, that time that we've been talking about, the Jacob's trouble. Okay, because we're at the end of America, Babylon the Great. All right, that's why I read Daniel the 12th chapter, because we're going to need divine intervention. All right, the elect are going to need Yahushua to fight on our behalf. Okay, by sending his angels to come and protect and fight on our behalf. All right. This is the book of there's a book of let's see. Let me go back here real quick. It's like I'm gonna get a few precepts here. All right, this is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. It says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you." All right, that goes for the house of David. All right, that we don't have to be told the times that we're in, because we're actually watching. All right, we're paying very close attention to these times and filtering it through the scriptures. Okay, that's what tells us where we're at in the time of prophecy. Okay, it says, "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." Yeah, come on. As a thief in the night for those who are not watching. Okay, because Yahushua said that if the good man was watching, then the thief wouldn't be able to come into his house and break into his house, hold him captive, you know, pillage, plunder, take all his shit, you know, roughly paraphrasing, right? But if you're watching, you're not going to get caught off guard. Okay, it's better to be on edge, you know, to spot out everything that may arise rather than to, you know, fall in slumber and then get overtaken, you know, by just 1 second, one split second. That's all it takes, because your enemy is looking for that one split second so he can make that move, you know. So you always got to be circumspect. Okay, watch all around you. Okay, it says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Okay, so it's measures. It's measures. It steps to it. You know, it steps to it. A woman in travail doesn't happen overnight. You know, it steps to it. You know, eventually, you know, her water breaks, and then, you know, that baby's coming out. But prior to that, you know, she's in pain. You know, she's screaming for help. You know, she knows it's coming. You know, she ain't running. Her walks are now slower. Right? She starts taking them slow walks in pain. You know, that's what you're seeing now. Rent is so high. You know, inflation everywhere. Food, gas prices, everything is up right now. Everything is up. You know, except for your rent. I mean, except for your so-called income. You work a lot more hours, a lot more jobs, a lot harder, but you're getting a lot less. You know, nobody's happy. You know what I'm saying? That's all part of the birth pains. But it gets worse, right? Before the end of it, it all gets worse. You know? And these things are all leading to the stage of deliverance, right? The birth pains don't just go away. The birth pains are happening because you about to give birth. So the calamities, the little shit that is going on now is all leading to the time of trouble. Okay? It says, verse 4, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief." Okay, so because we're always watching. "Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness." So that's why it's hard for these devils to overtake us, right? 2 Corinthians 2:11 says that lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, so, you know, we have a fighting chance because Yahushua is that light that guides us, you know, and they can't do anything to us. I remember there's a dream that I had where This was like a few years ago. And it was like I was in school, and all of a sudden, before the sun went down, everybody was leaving. And I'm sitting there in the class like, yo, what's going on? Asking questions. And then, the professor was like, oh, I gotta go. It's almost sundown. It was like everyone is rushing home quick before the sun go down. I was like, what the fuck? And then I was in my locker. The sun had gone down. I was in my locker section trying to get my books out, so I could leave. And some shorty that I used to deal with, I think this was after they had taken the thing. All right. Her eyes was glowing. Her eyes was turning white, in the dark. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, her eyes was glowing. And, the whole locker room, the hallway was all dark. So I see this chick, I see lights, eyes everywhere. I'm looking around, I'm like, yo, what's all this shit? So she comes up to me, like she tried to attack me, and then she stopped. She stopped, and then, I was like, yo, what's going on? And we started talking, and then she kind of got back to her senses. We started talking, and she was telling me, she said she had to, apologize, and she was telling me how, they trusted the government, and this will happen to them. That's what she said, all right, from what I remember. And I was like, oh, right away I knew what she was talking about. And then I asked her, so what's going on? What's all this thing that she said they can't resist it, they have to eat flesh. And I was like, so why you can't catch me? She's like, there's something. She said, there's a light that's within you that blocks us from, attacking you. Something to the effect of something like that. I was like, oh shit. Right away I felt invincible. I was like, oh, yo, shit, I could run through these demons, But yeah, man, it's just like, it's that light. We are the children of the light. Yeah, that's Yahushua, right? Revelation 3:10, he shall keep us in the hour of temptation. It's going to be that light that's going to give us that resistance, So, and that's why Esau is trying to kill that light, which is this truth, that resistance, Verse 6, it says, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Okay? For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. All right? But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation. For the Most High hath hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahushua Hamashiach. Okay, so hey man, we got a great fighter in our corner, which is Yahushua. He's leading us. He's on our side and he's behind us. All right, he's on top of us too. Okay, guiding us, by way of his angels. Okay, always over us. Wherever we may go, we walking outside, he's with us, right? You're always getting a report. Hey, how's he doing? How are they doing? How are they doing over there? Okay, all right, bet. You stay there. You watch this. You be here. When you're driving, the angels are over you, watching you. Sometimes you see them. They make themselves visible. You can look up and be like, oh, that's a chariot. They make themselves visible that, hey, we're around. Sometimes you see a fleet. Sometimes you see a few angels doing their own thing. It's all there. But that's physical evidence that the Lord is with us. The Lord is with us, man. So, hey, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord, you edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachakodash, the water, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.
We've taken another step towards a cashless society. A big bank has confirmed customers in some locations can no longer withdraw money over the counter as branches continue to wind back services.
It's up there with the pub with no beer, the bank with no cash. ANZ has confirmed some branches no longer handle cash at the counter. Others are directing customers to smart ATMs for cash transactions.
The latest figures on ATMs shows the number of machines has more than halved from almost 14,000 back in 2017 to around 6,000 in the middle of last year.
For years, cash was king, but not anymore. Hello there, I wondered if you had any change for a $50 note.
No, I don't have any cash.
Don't use cash anymore these days.
No, definitely not. No change at all.
Never?
Never. Not having cash is much more convenient.
For the first time since dollars and cents were introduced in the 1960s, Australia's cash supply is shrinking.
We are becoming fully digitalised. We're still producing cash out there, but we're just becoming more reliant on other ways to pay. And this is what you would expect. In fact, it's a trend that's long been in the making.